and with ties to the Iranian military following U.S. airstrikes in Iran. According to the Department of Homeland Security, 36-year-old Rivar Karimi is an alleged former Iranian army sniper. He was taken into ICE custody in Blount County. He entered the U.S. on a fiancé visa back in 2024, but failed to adjust his legal status. Karimi is one of the 11 Iranian nationals arrested this week as DHS ramps up efforts to remove individuals who are posing potential security threats amid rising tensions in the Middle East. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
More than 30 people were arrested on Tuesday at the construction site of the new Gulf Shores High School. The Gulf of America Homeland Security Task Force and the FBI say that those detained are suspected of being in the U.S. illegally. Rayburn Construction is holding the $131 million contract for building the school. The company has not yet confirmed whether those arrested were employees or subcontractors. Both the city and the company have declined to comment further on this issue. Layoffs are coming for AT&T workers in Huntsville. The Alabama Department of Commerce has been notified of the impending layoffs, which will start in September of this year. A total of 73 employees will be affected by this decision. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Independent Glass has been your one-stop shop for all things glass since 1978. They offer a full range of architectural products, and they're armed with the knowledge and expertise to get even the most demanding job done, big or small. Attention to detail, 24-hour replacement services, and their uncompromising commitment to excellence is why Montgomery's first choice for all things glass is Independent Glass. Call them today at 263-2823 and learn more about what they can do for you at independentglassco.com.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads, great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage, weird, but still a salad. One radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot, so it's time to get your grilling on. Pick up the Traeger Pro Series 22 pellet grill and smoker, now on special buy for $389, was $549. Smoke a rack of ribs or bake an apple pie. This grill is versatile enough to do it all. This summer, no matter how you like your steaks, your barbecues are guaranteed to be well done. Celebrate 4th of July with fast free delivery on select grills right now at the Home Depot. Subject to availability.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
This is the Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on this lovely Wednesday out of Montgomery, Alabama. I'm your host, Joey Clark. No Eddie Bader today, just flying solo. He's trying to be the #1 realtor in the world. You know his motto.
Always be closing.
For some reason, I think that's in a movie or something. Welcome into the program. Trump at the NATO summit. Plenty to get to there. We will in just a second. Thomas Massie also being one of the biggest gadflies in the world. I think picking that up from the former Congressman Ron Paul. Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr. saying that MAHA is all about wearing wearable devices, biodata devices. In fact, I wear a Whoop all the time. So I guess the CIA knows exactly my biometrics. Plus a few other arguments over was the site actually destroyed there in the Iranian strike? This Aaliyah raid on multiple hemp shops. Maybe some were selling actual odd marijuana products, some not even marijuana, just crazy stuff. Also stuff from Nicole Wadsworth. I guess that's still a campaign, as well as Coach Tuberville weighing in on the Trump strikes on Iran. Joining us to talk about all this stuff and more, we have Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show. He's also editor-in-chief there at 1819news.com. Jeff, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
I want to start with this Nicole Wadsworth story. This is the strangest thing. Like, the headline is Lawyers for Lieutenant Governor hopeful Nicole Wadsworth requests story calling candidates' academic credentials into question be removed from 1819 News. What in the world?
Well, this is not how you handle crisis communication. Not that calling her doctor and then turning out, hey, you need to start calling me Dr. Media was the first miscue. The second miscue was questionable use of the doctor academic credential, which led to a bunch of stories from different media outlets, and now they are requesting that these stories be taken down, which is another free shuttle goal for guys like us.
Well, and didn't her whole campaign staff essentially quit on her?
They quit, and the campaign manager had to send out the initial salvo saying you need to call her doctor, started talking to the media like, yeah, she was not being forthright, truthful with us, and they walked away. And then she hired a new staff, I guess. I don't know. I mean, she was not going to be lieutenant governor even without this odd behavior. But it continues to be like a study on a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, and I don't think I've, at least in the almost 15 years now of being in talk radio, seen anything like this, like breaking your leg out off the starting block.
No, and then, maybe it's a campaign ploy. I don't know. Is this like part of the strategy? Like be so bad that you force the media to talk about your failing campaign?
Well, next she'll be talking about how the earth is flat and get plenty of attention that way too. We've seen that tried before.
Yeah, you'd be a guest on the Del Jackson show, and yeah, you're right. But we already have a flat earther. I would like to see those two in a debate.
Oh, I would love it. And there's part of me, I might have to argue with Dale about this someday, that there's a rich irony to having a flat earther as lieutenant governor while we get Space Force. I think we should make that happen just for the humor of it.
Well, yeah, that's certainly a contradiction in theories.
Now, looking at this story, there's been a follow-up. Caleb Taylor writing it there at 1819 News. Aaliyah raided a bunch of hemp shops. Now Aaliyah is saying this was due to numerous complaints. I've had some folks call me. I actually have talked to some folks that run some of the CBD stores that I go to. And I have been told that places like some of these gas stations, they're selling stuff that isn't even hemp, let alone marijuana. You're talking like stuff that's sprayed with chemicals. You're talking slushies with 200 milligrams of THC, which is crazy. And yet I do worry with some of these in recent enforcements and how this law is coming in. You are going to get folks like Jennifer Boozer. She's just an example of many out there that are kind of left out in the cold, unfortunately.
I think what happened with these raids, it was this. They were trying to, I think they're trying to send a message here. I mean, the law goes into effect, July 1st. And this is what it looks, this is a sneak preview of things. Like you need to get your program or your business here in compliance because we're serious and we're not, there's no grace period. This is the law now, and we're not going to, kind of take our time enforcing it.
Well, and Aaliyah's saying that these seizures included large amounts of marijuana and paraphernalia. So I guess if you're selling actual weed and not just say hemp flower, they cut you on it. I wonder.
Wouldn't it be great? wouldn't it be great, Joey, if Aaliyah I'm sure it's like this in Montgomery, going down Atlanta Highway or Boulevard or something, and you get in the contact high lane. Wouldn't it be great if Aaliyah was as serious about cracking down on that stuff as they are cracking down on these mom and pop sort of hemp oil, whatever they are, stores?
Yeah, it's just I don't think we have the personnel. I think they pick and choose who to make an example of, I suppose.
Yeah, that's not this isn't really where the problem lies. Now, there's like an ideological component, and you and I have talked about it. No one's really thrilled with this law, but these guys, they sell bad stuff, but they're not the problem that's plaguing Alabama society on a daily basis.
No, and I've just got a rule of thumb: if you're buying drugs, any drugs at like a Circle K, or even worse, some of these package stores like on Ann Street here, Montgomery, like buyer beware. Like you just get a vibe.
You're much better off buying it in the parking lot of the Dollar General, right?
Right. Bobby's much more trustworthy. Like he smells, but he's got good
at least
product.
you know his weed is weed and not like some kind of a synthetic compound laced product.
Well, and in this day and age, it's a very real thing, whether it's weed or any drug somebody's buying illegally. Maybe somebody goes and tries to buy some Percocets or Xanax or whatever illegally. Say you're a college kid, you're trying to get some Adderall. A lot of this stuff is laced with fentanyl. Like a lot of these deaths are not like ODing. These are laced. It's like a poisoning. And, it's one thing to think, oh, I can go off to college, experiment a little, try some things, and you just end up dead because of this stuff that's being pushed.
Like it was when you and I were at Auburn University, is it? There's so many corners they can cut, and I think you're right. But I'm not quite where some people are. Well, the war on drugs failed, so we should just wave the white flag and become Amsterdam. But I don't think what they're doing here is the solution either.
Yeah, it's more. I think we need to, and maybe RFK Jr.'s kind of on top of this. It needs to be a whole restructuring, or at least look over of how we do drugs in the country. I'm talking legal ones, pharmaceuticals as well, because you look at something like weed, it's still Schedule 1 up there with fentanyl and like crack cocaine, some of the worst stuff out there, and it's just absurd to schedule those in the same way. But and then you look at the stuff that people can get through their doctor and their insurance pays for it, and it's awful for folks. A lot of this fentanyl crisis is based in, the Percocet and the opioid crisis in general.
Yeah, and I think there's some merit to this argument. What the products that the Jennifer Boozer, the Canabama kind of places are offering, for a lot of people, that's their fix, which is a much better fix than whatever pain pill addiction, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, and we'll continue to see how this is enforced. I think there's still a lot of folks wondering what ABC wants them to do, but I think you're right.
Well, it's the most Alabama thing ever, Joey. With like, okay, we're not going to outlaw it altogether, but we're not going to legalize it in a rational way. We're just going to give it to the state to handle, like it's the ABC store.
Now, you sent my Friday co-host on assignment. Honestly, I don't mind it at all. I'll pretend to be mad about it. It looks like the story you sent him to cover is Montgomery Whitewater. That story still has legs at 1819news.com. We've talked about it a bunch, heard from a lot of naysayers. I didn't like the idea initially, but then I've heard from Doug Singleton, the county commission chair. This is really, I think, in big part his baby, and a few others. And it's kind of amazing. First day of summer, Craig did not see many folks out there. If this is meant to be an amenity to attract other, say, tourists and big business, that's one expensive cherry on top of the sundae.
I'll tell you what, I came back from Prattville one day, back to the State House, the old way, right? And I just to get a glimpse, see if the Renaissance was underway, brought by the Whitewater Park, and it's the same dilapidated sort of neighborhood that it's always been.
Yeah, and it's been that way for way too long, and it's shocking. Yeah, I'm reading it here. What Craig wrote up: first day of summer, the attendance was significantly lacking. Hardly 24 patrons observed on a Friday, first day of summer. You would think the place would be packed out.
It would. Now, maybe it was the time of day he went. I don't know, but it's not living up to its billing. And this was like a real fight. I remember this. Your delegation in Montgomery was really irritated that, because, and this is a fair criticism of the Alabama legislature, they don't look at these projects in Montgomery. They think of Montgomery as state government, and we already spend so much money in Montgomery County doing state government. These type of projects, you're already getting everything else from state. Well, why should we fund these projects? It was a real fight. Eventually they got some money out of the state for it. But if you're going to do this, was this the project? Was this the thing that was going to be inspire a drastic change in a beleaguered part of town, the Maxwell Gateway? And it just hasn't lived up to that, at least not yet.
Yeah, and that's what I told Doug Singleton, that it's early. I'm not going to try to contradict any facts, but I am going to contradict their aspirations. I think it is still very speculative and aspirational at this point, and they're going to need to actually bring money in. You need a lot of tourists, so they need a lot more events, and because even if the locals start going to it, that's just shifting money around the local area, and maybe that helps that area they're trying to improve. But that's not the same thing as you get tens of thousands of tourists in a year. Maybe you actually bring more money into the city.
And it's always this way. There's project after project in Mobile. Man, how much money has the state put into downtown Birmingham? They moved a long-running amphitheater from Shelby County downtown. It's always these projects, but at the bottom, kind of underwhelming here is this water park. And I should the state even be in this business? And I mean, I most of us probably listening would say no.
Right.
Should the government be in this business? The Vision Land in Birmingham. I mean, we keep, it's like Lucy in the football here. The same thing keeps happening when these visionaries try to do this and manufacture some kind of tourist economy that it's just not going to happen.
Now, shifting gears, lots happened since we talked last Wednesday on the national international scene. What do you make of this whole Trump striking over the weekend, the ceasefire 12-day war ended? What do you make of this episode?
I wish they pumped the brakes on the Trump for Nobel Prize talk. I don't like that. I think it's, and I've been saying this the last few days on different places around the state, it kind of is reminiscent of Mission Accomplished banner on the carrier deck there with George W. Bush, and then the left kind of hung it around his neck, right? And then made him look bad. It's an unforced error to start talking about that. I wish that would go away. But the other thing, Joey, there's a real split of Republican Party on the conservative movement, if you will. And I don't know how big of the split, if you lose 10, 15%, whatever the number is, with the margins being so thin on Capitol Hill and nationally in national elections, the coalition, the MAGA coalition, has to stay together. You have to bring these people back somehow. And doing, like the Mark Levins and guys like that, doing these victory laps and, flipping the bird to the other side, that's not helping the cause.
No, and I mean, I know or at least you've gotten to know them somewhat, if not well, a lot of these players, and especially the new media world, your Tucker Carlson's, your Steve Bannon's, I think you've even, I don't know, but Ben Shapiro to a degree. Where do you think the actual fault line is? Is it ideological? Is it just over foreign policy like we saw in the last week? I mean, why are there these little tensions?
Some of it is personalities. Now, my early days of Breitbart, I'm still there. It's a totally different kind of place now. But what had happened, I left the Daily Caller when Tucker Carlson was still there to go work for Steve Bannon. And Ben Shapiro was still a prominent fixture there. And this is documented. I'm not giving any inside details here. It's all out there in the public. It was an ugly breakup between Bannon and Ben Shapiro. And you wonder, like, maybe those hostilities are still present between the two. And you know what? The breakup was essentially over like the conservative movement going from, we were kind of at the end, the winding down of this Tea Party era in Republican politics, and to move to like a more populist borders, language, culture movement, trade within the Republican Party that I think became what, MAGA sort of represents. And then those shifts aren't easy, right? Whenever you change horses, it's difficult. And that was sort of the breakup there. Well, here we are, for what, 9 years, 10 years later, and I think there's still a little bit of that's a kind of a residual effect.
Well, and what I hope is people end up still rallying around Trump. It seems like he built this coalition. He understands it. And, sometimes it's going to be like, shut up, Thomas Massie, shut up, Rand Paul. Other times it's going to be like, shut up, Mark Levin. And then you can always count on Sean Hannity to say whatever he needs to say in the moment.
Yeah, and then that's another thing I don't like is sort of this like infallibility that we put on Trump.
Right.
And I'm not saying that he's wrong here. I could go either way on this. I don't know. I guess the one question that's unresolved for me, Joey, is how much of a threat was it?
Mm-hmm.
And was it just, maybe it was just this, now was the best strategic time possible to do something. And that's why what happened last weekend happened. You only get one shot at this, and the sun and the stars and the moon were all aligned perfectly to pull it off. I mean, I wouldn't, but we don't know. We don't know. We have to take their word for it. And like I said, I could go either way, but what I find a little troubling is the people who are skeptical are just being like, castigated, and called all kinds of sort of things, anti-Semitic and, anti-Trump. I don't think that's a fair analysis.
Well, and I guess it always depends on the commentator. There are definitely stuff where, like, say, Candace Owens will say a thing, and I'm like, well, if the bra fits, like, like some of the stuff is wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously people who have overstepped some boundaries here, and I'd put her in that category. But there's others who just like, are we sure we want to do this? Did this start
Right.
World War III? I mean, obviously it didn't, and they're having to eat crow. But like, I think at the time, knowing that there was a Chinese, Russia, Iran sort of coalition on some things, that you could not totally dismiss it like it was a crazy thing to say, because it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And so, I don't know, maybe this, we'll see, because the latest thing is like where the site's actually destroyed and people leaking all this information. I really am in this position where you're talking about what the intelligence was, or did the Israelis sort of force Trump's hand in this? Like, most of us don't know unless you're in the room. And it seems like Trump has learned from the last term. He's only got a few trusted people around him making the final decision. It seems like it's Rubio, Vance, and Hegseth, and as well as his chief of staff, are the ones really in the room on a lot of this stuff. So if you're one of those people, but I think most of us are a bit in the dark on a lot of this.
And then I think they could do a better job with this. Now, I don't know about these intel reports, and I've seen I just got the press release from the White House talking about the intelligence assessment that was leaked to the New York Times and to CNN. Maybe perhaps isn't the best take on the aftermath here, but I do think I don't think this sort of victory lap approach that you see on Fox News every night is going to do it for you.
Now, this will be my final question. What do you make of the President of the United States coming out and just dropping the F-bomb on national TV?
I mean, it's probably not historically not a presidential thing to do, but I tell you what, I mean, can we just kind of acknowledge the culture's shifted?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, the F-bomb is not quite it's not your mama and daddy's F-bomb anymore. Should you probably avoid it? That's probably best practices, but it's not something culture pearls about.
Yeah, and it's not like he used it as every other word. He used it, I think, in a very effective way to get the point across. was kind of a mic drop moment, dropping that and then walking off to Marine One. So I don't know. I think you're right. The culture has shifted. I've noticed it. It's affected our industry, and the online world continues to change our real world. I always appreciate your time, Jeff. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, think about, how can they do so?
1819 News, 1819news.com, and then me personally, x.com/Jeff_Poor.
Appreciate it, sir. We'll do it again next. I'll be off next week, but talk to you soon either way.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, sir. Again, folks, that is Jeff Poor. Like I said, editor-in-chief there at 1819news.com. Also host of the Jeff Poor Show down there in the Mobile, Baldwin County area. Before I keep going on, hit a break. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro Ashley, and that fantastic team are ready to help you out. They now have this monthly subscription model. Really helps with clear, solid budgeting. It's like added to, say, your utilities, where you're getting that pest control done in a way that's predictable in terms of its cost, and it works. And they get to know you, get on a regular schedule. Starts with basic pest control protection, and you can add to that termite inspections, yearly inspections, as well as year-round protection. Then you could add on top of that, and we're in the midst of it now, mosquito protection. If you actually want to enjoy your property, say the backyard, the front porch, maybe you got a big old pool, maybe you're by the lake or something like that, and you don't want to be eaten up as you're trying to enjoy the outdoors, well, why not get Pest Pro Services out? And it really, really works. Once they treat a property to get rid of those mosquitoes, you're not going to see a single mosquito. They're not going to bug you at all. And it's not like they show up once and you got to remember to call. No, they get on a regular schedule. They show up 7-8 times during peak mosquito season. Make sure that you can, again, actually enjoy that property without being eaten up by those skeeters. So you need to call Pest Pro Services today. I mean, you could check out more if you want to learn more at ppsriverregion.com. Great website there. Or just search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. But just call them direct, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, a fellow on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go. Your home's first impression starts outside, and Gateway Exterior Cleaning, Lawn, and Landscaping is here to make it unforgettable. From spotless windows and power wash driveways to house washing and roof cleaning as well as landscaping, they do it all. Residential or commercial, they've got you covered. Call Gateway Exterior Cleaning, Lawn, and Landscaping or visit gatewayexteriorcleaning.com for a free estimate. They offer 0% financing, 3 to 24 months for flexible payments, and a 15% discount for first-time customers. Gateway Exterior Cleaning is your gateway to a cleaner, brighter home or business. Call today at 334-467-5480.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up to price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll-free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. On top of the extreme heat with the heat advisory still in effect, we're going to be radar watching today. Sometimes big heat can produce big storms, and some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. With a high today in the upper 90s, heat index 105 or higher, low tonight in the mid-70s. Rest of the week, temperatures will be closer to, let's say, the low to mid-90s for highs, with more pop-up storms every day. From the AMS Broadcast Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
Budget Floors & More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors & More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up, silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Again, 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Before I go to some very patient folks on the phones here, first, this part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And right now, if you're on your lunch break, you're kind of thinking about where do I need to go? Remember, there at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, they have a meat and 3 daily lunch special for only $12.95, just about $13. You get, of course, choice of 1 meat, 3 sides, and corn muffins. So what type of meat choices are we talking about? Of course, fried chicken, southern fried chicken, fried pork chops, grilled pork chops, country fried steak, hamburger steak. You can even, for $1 extra, go with some fried catfish. Nothing wrong with that. Some hot sauce. I like a little mustard on a fried catfish sandwich. Been a while, but I need to try that there at Smokehouse. And of course, they got lima beans, barbecue beans, mac and cheese, potato salad, black-eyed peas, collard greens, corn on the cob, fried okra, fried green tomatoes. I'm just scratching the surface here. And maybe you want a little dessert for lunch. Banana pudding, peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler. They got it all there. Stop by. It is worth the time. You can do a quick takeout order, but just get by there. Main Street in Millbrook. That's Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And be sure to tell the great folks there that Joey, that fella on the radio, is the one that made you hungry. Let's go to Soldier Boy. How you doing today?
Good afternoon, Joey. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
You know, I think
Do you remember when we had the pandemic? We had only necessity jobs were being worked. Was it
essential?
What they call it?
Essential versus non-essential. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the state of Alabama and the governors should do something about during this heat. I think it's cruel and unusual punishment for anybody to be maintaining any work period outside in that direct heat.
I mean, I worked Parks and Rec for the city a few times, and if it gets really hot, you can go to the truck or you can go under.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Whoa. How old were you then?
I was 18.
Point made. When you're that young, Joey, man, you can work through crap. I did.
Sure.
I worked through a water park. Come on, man.
Right.
Okay.
What, you can't take the heat?
Without no shade. Not at my age. Hell no.
Just hydrate. Don't wear black.
Oh, I'm not wearing black. I'm wearing blue jeans, and that's about it. But I'm just saying, it's not so much the heat. I've been to Saudi Arabia when I was over there. Okay. I've been to Egypt over there. There's a difference between when the heat is hot and the difference when it's humidity. We got humidity on top of heat.
I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. Every morning I hop in about 130 degree sauna and try to do a workout. So,
oh wow!
So
well, you know, for example, people go to to Arizona, Nevada. Why? Because it's
dry heat.
There's no humidity. Okay, but you accept that when you come down to the south. When your humidity is as bad as it. I mean, when you're under the shade and you get a cool breeze and you're still sweating like a pig.
Oh, dude, don't.
You got humidity.
I'm glad I'm indoors these days, but yeah, I've done my fair share of working outside in the middle of summer.
I was going to say that, but I'm saying even at your age right now, you're still a prime heat type of working dog, you know. So it wouldn't matter any much. And I want to thank Mr. Trump yesterday for dropping the F-bomb. Thank you.
You liked it? I thought it was. He's redefining presidential.
Well, next time Soldier Boy gets in trouble for dropping some kind of bomb word on the radio station, I'm gonna pull out this Mr. Trump and have him be my witness.
No, but you're not the president.
I can be.
Okay, run for it, big boy.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, in your own mind, you can be whatever you want these days. You know, I mean.
Oh, and the culture really has changed. Think of all the popular shows out there, whether it's produced TV or comedy shows or come on, the culture's changed.
But when he dropped that bomb, it made me even make him look more human and normal like the rest of us.
Oh yeah. There's a classic clip of Trump, from 15 years ago, long before I think he ran for president and won that first time, where he's talking about how they always send these negotiators like, oh, hey, China, could we hopefully work out a deal? It's like, no. You got to get tough people. You got to get them to walk up there and say, listen up here, you MFers. And he actually said the word and the crowd went wild. And so
I tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I noticed that this morning when he had his little speech this morning with the news. And yesterday and the day before, he's been coming heavy down on CNN, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. He's not even hitting. He's calling them out right in front of their faces.
Well, because they keep running these stories, they didn't actually do the job there in Iran. So he's quite upset with it.
And he looks at the reporter. I would hate to be a reporter for CNN, the White House court, and try to have the desk reporter to ask a question. When I know my people behind me already destroyed me up, already messed me up. Man, he doesn't even hint that it was CNN or.
Well, here for folks who haven't heard it, this is Trump at the NATO summit earlier talking about what you just said.
This was an unbelievable hit by genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group, and not all of you are. You have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay? But it wasn't hit hard. It was hit brutally, and it knocked it out. The original word that I use, I guess it got us in trouble because it's a strong word. It was obliteration.
Yeah, he's not playing today.
Hey, Jerry, here's for Mr. Cohen, okay? Here's the state score. 5 scums What was it? 5 scums and one, what? He had one other one. I was like, man, I just even score, man. He just called them scums left and right.
Oh, yeah, and you've got Hegseth jumping in on this. Did you hear the one moment, though, with the Secretary General of NATO?
I heard a little bit. What part are you talking about?
Okay, here, let me just play it for folks, because it's a short clip. It's only about 20 seconds here, folks. Let's listen in together.
We may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
Daddy uses strong language.
Isn't that true, though? It's like 2 little kids in the playground fighting in the sandbox. After about 2 or 3 minutes, it's settled.
Well, and it's just amazing. Trump goes to the NATO. So the headline reads, Trump goes to NATO summit called Daddy. Wow.
So I think NATO's going to, majority of them have already agreed to pay more.
Oh, yeah, other than maybe Spain. Now, Spain is pushing back. But by the way, after I heard that clip where the Secretary General called him Daddy, I'm driving back from working out, like I just described, and on my random playlist, it plays all sorts of stuff, and I got plenty of pop music mixed in with the rock and roll and whatnot. Father Figure by George Michael came on. And
right. I like that song.
And, oh, yeah, it's a good song, but I just immediately started thinking of Trump saying, I could be your father figure. You put your little Marco, put your tiny hand in mine.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think a majority of those people are willing to up the money and pay more because of what Russia's doing currently?
Oh, of course, yes.
But do you think that's got them scared a little bit and say, hey, we'll cough up a couple more millions a year?
Oh, especially, well, Poland's already there. Your Baltic countries will definitely jump in on that. I think places like Germany and France are starting, and the UK, they're all starting to get the picture. Those 3 in particular need to pick up the slack.
Wait a minute. They got the war defense in Germany?
Germany?
What's wrong with our defense?
Yeah, what's wrong with the military we got? Well, I appreciate the call, soldier boy. I got to run.
All right, man.
Yeah, let's go to Cameron. Hey, Cameron, how you doing? Cameron, are you there? You held on for this long.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry. I'm on mute.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There you go. What's up?
I love your show. As always, you know I'm a frequent listener.
Thank you, sir.
Do you want to ask me a question, or you want me just to give you a quick riff?
You're the one who called me. What's on your mind?
Well, I would like to change the dialogue.
Okay.
By adding to it. Not by, I mean, I love everything that's been said, but my mother was a English teacher, and she taught me the efficiency of terminology. So let me talk about current events very quickly. Trump is laying down a pattern. Whoever doesn't meet that pattern of peace is asking for it. Trump was elected by the American people to protect America and all humanity from the bullies that are present in our current history. What he's doing in Russia, Korea's watching, China's watching, and Hezbollah and the Mexican car, everybody's watching. He is very measured. He's not any Superman. He represents the American people. Sorry I took so long, but I'm so proud to be alive at this time. I believe America's youth is going to be shown in history that we grew up pretty fast.
I think you're laying down your own pattern that makes a lot of sense there, Cameron.
Thank you, sir. I love your show. I'm so grateful that you guys allow me to be in your family.
Thank you, Cameron. 272-9228 if you want to join our radio family. That's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they're ready to help you fellas out if you just don't feel yourself anymore. And maybe you just never felt good. There are even guys in their 20s, their 30s that are experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone. Of course, low T is a natural thing for guys that get into middle age, especially in your 50s and 60s. And a lot of guys don't want to lose that edge, even as they get up there into their 50s and 60s. But whether you're in your 20s or in your 60s, if you are feeling run down and tired all the live long day, your sleep patterns are completely shot. You're not seeing much gains from all your workouts, like you're losing muscle mass and strength. You're never in the mood as you get thicker around the middle, and you start just feeling down on yourself. Well, if you're feeling all this at once, or even one of these symptoms, you just don't feel yourself, get by Montgomery Men's Health. The providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation. It'll be only $99. It's really just a quick blood draw and then a few basic quality of life questions. And your score will come back. And if you do have low T, they have treatments there that can truly change men's lives, including on the very same day. Men can experience higher energy after treatment, better gains in the gym, brother, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, faster metabolism, usually even notice, and increased sex drive. There's nothing wrong with that. So y'all call them up today. Make that appointment. 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Book your appointment today.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
If your decision for new floors is based on brands and selection, wanting perfect and professional installation, or the kind of customer service that doesn't even exist at big box stores, obviously you gotta shop Prattville Carpet. But if you're looking for the lowest price, in that case, it's still Prattville Carpet. Because during their summer sale going on now, you can get tile, luxury vinyl plank, and carpet, all for just $1.39 a square foot.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Hey, Joey, I'm doing good. I'm actually in the Chappie's Deli car hump right now. So if I have to pause for a second to get this food, that's why. But I'm having a great Wednesday. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic as always. And I kind of wanted to do, because we often talk topical stuff in the news, but let's do another, say, deep dive on Invista Advisors, where, of course, you and the rest of the team there are helping folks out for long-term financial planning. It can be like any point in life, right? It ideally somebody starts early, as early as possible, but it could be at any point in life y'all can help set up a plan.
Definitely. And I would say we most often get approached by people as they are nearing retirement, but where I've seen the most success in my client base are with people that come to us well in advance and set up a plan. And planning is really what we specialize in. So if you're not interested in doing just a full-blown, investment strategy with us and you just want a game plan, we do those. And so I would say that, if you come in your 20s, 30s, you've got a little bit saved up, but you don't really know where to prioritize, maybe, hey, do I want to pay down my mortgage faster, or do I need to get life insurance, or do I want to just go full blown into investing, where are my dollars best spent to maximize my goals? That's what we really specialize in. And then kind of furthermore, we have a wide variety of experts in-house. So, we have a 401k branch of our company that, if you're a business owner and you want to have, competitive benefits package for employee retention, we build those, we service those, and that's a large portion of what we do. If you need insurance, life insurance particularly, we sell it, but we also take a look at, let's say you have a whole life policy you were sold 10, 20 years ago. You don't know what it's currently doing for you. You know it has some cash value, but you don't know why you still continue to pay on this thing. You're just kind of scared to stop. We'll take a look at that, give you an assessment, maybe recommend a change, or maybe recommend stay put based on, what it's doing for you. So insurance is another component. And then, of course, the investment side as well. And that investment could be public investment through publicly traded companies or private investment through, say, consulting on mergers or acquisitions, the purchase of a company, the sale of a company. If you're a small business owner or a mid-sized business owner and you're looking to get a valuation, we do have a section of our RIA that also handles that. So those are kind of the main components of what we do. So, if you're a listener out there, and I do want to highlight one thing, Joey. I was getting my hair cut yesterday, and a guy named Danny Jennings approached me and said, "Hey, are you the guy on Joey Clark's show?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me." And so I know there are listeners out there that are in our community, and he's just, one of many that's pulled me aside and said great things about you. And those are the types of people that I would love to, reach out and have a discussion. And you're getting the word out there about us, Joey, and the things we do, and I really appreciate it.
Well, and I love that it's not like necessarily one size fits all. It's like, really, you got to get to know the person. And folks, it really all begins with a phone call. And that's still 387-0094.
Yep, that's us. And really look forward to taking your call. And yeah, make sure you mention Joey. Anytime that I hear your name, Joey, when someone comes up to me, it always puts a smile on my face, because our partnership has began to expand out, and definitely an exciting thing.
Well, and I love hearing that, because me, I kind of keep to myself by design, and it's really cool. I'm sometimes amazed. I was stopped in the grocery store by Wade the other day. Very cool how many folks, everybody's listening. And, maybe down the road, is there a model where it's like, I don't really want to retire, but I kind of don't want to work? Like, is there a way I get a dividend every year and I'm all right? I'm sure stuff like that exists.
I'll tell you what happens a lot too is people want to retire, and then they get a year or two into retirement and they're like, man, there's only so much golf I can play. There's only so much time I can spend at the beach, and I'd like to go back part-time and do something just to have that social aspect of the people that I work with, or I just want something to fill maybe 3 days a week. That happens a lot. But also, like you said, some people sometimes are just looking for cash flow from their investments. And, we can strategize a way to make that happen too. You maybe are happy in retirement, but you just want your money to do a little bit of work for you to supplement maybe it's Social Security income or a pension if you've worked with, like the military or the state. And so, yeah, we have more often than you believe situations that are not 100% retired or 100% unretired, but a combination of both.
Well, I'm just trying to think through my own life. Like, how early can I not have to work? That'd be fun. That's a fun idea.
You need to come and see us. I'm surprised we haven't set something up yet, but you should come see us just so that you understand kind of what these plans are all about. We'd love to have you in sometime in the next couple of weeks or months. So, give us a call. Definitely take care of you.
And of course, folks, I think we're going to have Austin here in studio soon. So we'll do more than just a phone call. We'll do an hour, if not more.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joey, and great job on the show. You have a great day.
Appreciate it, Austin. Again, folks, that's Austin Baranco with Invista Advisors. Y'all call them up today, 387-0094.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
So Jemiah's on Facebook saying, so because Trump said it, it's true, LOL? No. Not just because Trump said it, it's true, but I mean, think about it.
I mean, we may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
So he's not necessarily always right. Like, he's always saying the truth. But, when Daddy says something, it's Daddy's Daddy. He's the father figure. Or, to be serious for a moment, he's the leader of a movement. And I am the first person to tell you, I was ranting at my grandfather the other night. He was just laughing about it. Like, I've gotten to this point where somebody brings up so-and-so politician lied. Yeah, and tell me somebody at the highest level, especially. You're a president. You're a senator. You're the vice president. Yada, yada, yada. Tell me one that hasn't lied. And not just like once, like all the time. And one thing I am getting a little tired of is like when people genuinely disagree over like what's the true truth of the effect of a given policy or whatever action in politics, that because we fundamentally disagree, then you're just a liar or you're stupid. Well, it's like, no, maybe you actually just are coming at this from different perspectives and could actually talk it out. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to be daddy. Somebody's got to be the top dog. And in this case, as you just heard from the general secretary, what did he say?
Let him fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easy to stop him.
And then daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
Then daddy has to use sometimes strong language. I don't know what the hell that accent is, but I like it. Second hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. President Trump says U.S. strikes delivered a crushing blow to Iran's nuclear program. At the same time, a preliminary private intelligence assessment suggesting the assault inflicted only a marginal setback. To that, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says those responsible for the so-called findings are, quote, professional stabbers. NATO leaders have agreed on an increase in defense spending and expressing their ironclad commitment to come to one another's aid if attacked. 32 leaders endorsing a commitment to invest 5% of their GDP annually on core defense requirements. Britain will purchase at least 12 United States-made F-35s capable of carrying nuclear bombs and will join NATO's shared airborne nuclear mission. This is SRN News.
Hey, everybody. Charlie Kirk here. As executive director of Turning Point USA, a national radio host, podcaster, husband, and father of two, my schedule is about as crazy as it can possibly get. 2 years ago, I made the decision to take control of my health, and I chose PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition because I needed a plan that fit my hectic lifestyle. I travel a lot, and my schedule changes every week, so I need something simple. They customized a plan for my body and my schedule, and I quickly lost 30 pounds. Now I have the energy and focus to get through my busy day. PhD will help you too. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call, schedule your weight loss consultation, and see if their program is right for you. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 855-696-2020 and mention the word healthy, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com. It worked for me, and it can work for you. myphdweightloss.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, the best quality building materials in the river region for decades. From common builds to special orders and local delivery. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. On top of the extreme heat with the heat advisory still in effect, we're going to be radar watching today. Sometimes big heat can produce big storms, and some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. With a high today in the upper 90s, heat index 105 or higher, low tonight in the mid-70s. Rest of the week, temperatures will be closer to, let's say, the low to mid-90s for highs, with more pop-up storms every day. From the AMS Broadcast Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations since we began in 1906. At CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A second person has been arrested in connection to a kidnapping and assault in Montgomery. 18-year-old Japage Mister is charged in the June 16th incident where the female victim was found beaten and burned on West-South Boulevard. 26-year-old Amajay Nelson Cox was previously arrested in the case. The suspects allegedly poured gas on the victim and set her on fire. The Metro Area Crime Suppression Unit was formed 1 year ago with a mission to reduce crime in Montgomery. Since its inception, MAX has made 429 arrests, seized 268 firearms, recovered 68 stolen vehicles, and taken 164 machine gun conversion devices off the streets. Overall, MAX reports a 19% crime decrease in Montgomery over the past year. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office will hold its annual youth fishing rodeo this Saturday from 6 to noon. Everyone is encouraged to come out to the ponds on Troy Highway across from Sweet Creek Farm Market. Kids and teenagers will need to be accompanied by an adult and bring their own fishing gear. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Want to grab lunch?
I can't. Gotta pick up my dry cleaning or I won't have anything to wear to work tomorrow.
There's never enough time. That's why I switched to Worth Cleaner's new 24/7 express kiosk on Vaughn Road. I can drop off and pick up my laundry and dry cleaning anytime I want, day or night.
Wow, Worth Cleaners sounds like the solution.
Worth Cleaners is excited to announce their 24/7 express kiosk. This is the first service of its kind in Montgomery and will allow customers to drop off and pick up their dry cleaning and laundry at their convenience, day or night, any day of the year. Even if you've never used Worth Cleaners before, you can go into their location at 7825 Vaughn Road today and use their 24/7 express kiosk. Instructions along with several descriptive photos are posted on the wall to aid customers who are first-time users. Visit our Vaughn Road location or find Worth Cleaners on Facebook for more information. Your family's clothing is worth it.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. So, Trump seems to be having a good time at the NATO summit. But it's not just Trump, it's the whole team he's put together. And I believe he does have now a trusted inner circle. He's learned to rely on just a few people when it comes to the final decision-making process. It allows them to, say, compartmentalize information. Of course, Trump talks to all sorts of folks. The guy's on the phone all the time getting different perspectives. But when it comes to like that tight-knit group in the Oval Office trying to make a final decision on something very big, especially with foreign policy, it looks like it's Rubio. Vance is very much a number two guy who is not only cheerleading and talking up the president, but helping the president think through ideas. And Pete Hegseth, tied to the hip with Trump on a lot of these operations. And of course, there's been a lot of bad press about Hegseth. I think it's because he's a change agent. You don't go in there and fire 100-something generals and not have some people pissed off at you. Cut big consulting contracts to tunes of billions of dollars and not have people pissed off at you. And when it especially comes to this insiders that know how to play the media game, number one is, of course, the intelligence community. And that's what we're seeing right now with this back and forth over a leaked intelligence assessment, which is clearly cherry-picked, which is clearly not the full report and breakdown of these things. There is openly available information that suggests, yeah, they really did decimate the nuclear sites in Iran. A lot of people breaking this down going, well, look exactly where they hit. Look at the type of debris, in particular, Fordo on top of the mountain. This means that there was a huge shock wave that rang through that whole cavern there that destroyed both entrances. If you look at how where all the holes are lined up in a perfect line, it means they're hitting a lot of the infrastructure. They had almost damn near perfect intelligence on where everything was within that place. Yet we're going to play the game of, we'll selectively leak a little thing. But second to the intelligence community is the Pentagon. And when you mess with the Pentagon, well, they know how to use their media contacts, to get at you. That said, Trump and team seem to be having a ball there at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Let's listen in to this one moment.
Go ahead, give my mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No, he did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend you?
Rubio can't contain himself. I got to see this again.
Hello. Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No, he did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies?
Do you regard your NATO allies as children? No. God, what a stupid question, but very funny moment. In a second, we'll get to Rubio sitting down with Politico, and he lays out his perspective on this, what they're calling a very successful strike. Of course, again, we'll see on all this stuff. Even Trump himself today saying, I hope peace stays there. Something might break out again. There's no guarantees, especially in the world of foreign policy. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
This is Crawdad.
Hey, Crawdad.
All I gotta say, she's a lovely young lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, the one where Trump dropped the F-bomb, they don't know what the F they're doing. The Sky News coverage of that, they pull out as he walks away and goes, "We want to apologize for the president's language in that moment there." I was like, okay.
I had a serious question. How long do you think we will wait for incontrovertible evidence when they can sniff and say what up from the damage, the plume, and verifying what amount level of enriched uranium had been thrown up into the air in the form of vapor?
Well, and that's a question of testing how much radiation is in the area, of course.
Yes.
There are satellite photos of trucks that showed up a few days before outside of the facility, but it's hard to tell what they were moving from just the satellite photos. A lot say, oh, that's evidence that they're moving the enriched uranium. I don't think it's that cut and dry, though.
Then that's why back to his question is, after the fact that we blew the hooey out of them, that dust is going to go up, and never mind what was in a truck, but what actually was boom up into the dust. That's what I'm waiting to hear, because when that gets out into the world, it reminds me of when we had Mr. Hans Blix years and years ago. Hans Blix was Mr. Inspector guy there with Baghdad. So I'm just, how long do you think before they tell us the information?
If they tell us, it'll be a few weeks. But I mean, you can look at, people already doing analysis, Fordo, the one under the big mountain, you can see the before and after, and really the before and after is you see a few holes, and then you see the mountaintop is gray. The reason the mountaintop is gray is because it's such a massive explosion underneath the mountain that it's going to send a shockwave not only through the mountain, but upwards. And so a lot of this stuff is vented debris through the mountain itself. That shows how powerful this strike was. So, I mean, this is, I think just on the face of it, they hit it very hard. Obliteration is the right word. It's just a matter of, was the uranium there? And of course, this requires a lot of human intelligence and other things.
Thank you, Joey.
Appreciate it, Carter. 272-9228. Here's Marco Rubio kind of laying out. This was a sit down with Politico. Play a few clips from this interview where they are, well, going into what was the mission.
The goal the president set out was 3 nuclear sites. He targeted them. He says, I want a one-off campaign in which we go in, wipe out 3 nuclear sites, hit them hard, and get out without any loss of life. And the mission was achieved, and without any escalation. And the mission was achieved. The truth of the matter is that happened on Saturday night. By Monday night, we had a ceasefire, so 48 hours later. So not only did this bold move by the president, and he deserves a tremendous amount of credit for taking this bold move, not only did this bold move have impact, but I actually think it helped end the conflict. That it allowed Israel to say, okay, now the objectives that we wanted to see out of this operation have been achieved. And I think the president deserves a lot of credit. He had a defined mission. So this is what we're going to do. We're hitting 3 targets. We're not hitting regime people. We're not trying to overthrow the government. We're not looking to invade. We're going to hit. Our problem with Iran is with the nuclear program. We're going to hit the 3 sites that we've been negotiating over, and then we're going to move off the mark. And that's what we did.
Pretty straightforward. And I like that it was a very limited, defined mission. I think that is the way, especially when you have such overwhelming force and capabilities, second to none, especially comparing the U.S. to Iran it's a joke. As heck, comparing Iran and Israel, in a way, Israel's ability to take out any air defenses is pretty amazing. Though, of course, Israel was running dry on a lot of interceptors themselves. So both probably had reason. Both Israel and Iran had reason to stop this thing. But the Politico reporter follows up with the question of the day because of this big intel report, or I would say portions of that intel report leaked to CNN, questioning how effective this strike actually was. But here's Rubio addressing that topic of the day.
So in Esfahan, there was this conversion site, which is how you turn this metal into something that's useful. That's wiped out. You can rebuild anything that's destroyed. You could if you wanted to, but it's completely wiped out. And so they can't do that today. Beyond that, all of the support structures around it as well. In Natanz, which is also an underground facility, that had already been destroyed. Basically, the Israelis have put a lot of damage on it. And then the United States went in with 2 additional heavy munitions that penetrated into the ground and did more damage. So it was already in bad shape and unusable, and now it's worse off. The hard one, the one that was really difficult is Fordo, because it's buried underneath a mountain at about 200 to 300 meters underground, and meters or feet, I forget, 300 underground. It was deep. And there's no doubt in our minds it's very significant, substantial, lasting damage was done to their program. We will learn more and more about it, but the baseline is real damage was done. Of that, we're very confident. We dropped 12 of these things into these holes. I mean, it's not like we just did a couple and see how it went.
No, and they had very good intelligence on what was the structure underneath the mountain. That's why you see, say, such a clear pattern. It's like they really are. It's a clear line where these things were dropped into. But again, I guess a full assessment will be coming. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Okay, so I'm following the news all night, right?
Yeah.
And I'm an options trader, so I start my day, a little after midnight, and I start listening to news in Asia and Australia and New Zealand, all the way across. I follow the sun around back to the BBC and Sweden and the Middle East and Africa, right? That's how I found out that the levels of the Mississippi River, this is a while back, the levels of the Mississippi River were down too low for the barges to come in. So I bought a bunch of corn, which I made money on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they couldn't get them down. They was going to have to truck them. So the price of corn's going to go up. So I didn't get that from the United States. Got that from an African news agency. Okay. I heard this story on more than one around the world, never heard it in the United States, and now I don't hear it again. But those trucks that were lined up, some of those trucks had Mossad agents in them. The rest of the trucks were hijacked, by Mossad agents. So that could be in Israeli hands, and you know, for intelligence purposes and security and all that, you don't want to beat the drum on that.
Well, and quick, there was a fascinating moment. It was a press conference with Bibi Netanyahu. Somebody asked about the enriched uranium, and he almost couldn't hold back smiling. He did it through a smirk. He held back a little bit, saying, "We have some interesting intelligence on the enriched material." Yeah, so that is it's comical. Is no matter how serious the situation, that you're trying to get rid of your enriched uranium or move it at least. And it ends up the guy that you put in charge of moving it is Mossad. Like, wow.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how good Mossad is, too. So I'm not real worried about what they moved out. But anyway, I just thought I'd add that for you know, just for Crawdad's peace of mind. And Israel may already be in charge of all the stuff they trucked out. We good.
Well, I appreciate it.
We hope.
We do.
All right, man. Bye.
Now, here's Rubio answering that same report. And this was a Politico interview with Rubio. Let's listen in.
Times are reporting that early intel suggests Iranian nuclear facilities were not completely destroyed, and the Times is reporting that the nuclear program was only set back a matter of months. Now, look, I know it's obviously quite early. The president is vehemently denying the veracity of these reports, but can you give us, now that we've had a little bit of distance, the latest battle damage assessment?
Well, I can't talk to you about intelligence. I can also tell you that intelligence leaks are one of the most frustrating things anywhere, not just because you got somebody who has access to this putting stuff out there, but because it's so often mischaracterized. An intelligence report, for anyone who's ever seen it, sometimes is an assessment. Some analyst will make an assessment, or analysts will make an assessment. And in these leaks, what you typically have is someone who read it and then leaks it to the media, giving it the spin and the angle they want it to have because they've got some purpose. Embarrass the administration, they were against the action, whatever it may be. Let me tell you this. The Iranian program, the nuclear program today, looks nothing like it did just a week ago. The program today has been set behind significantly from where it was a week ago. It is in far worse shape today than it was a week ago because of U.S. actions and because some of the actions the Israelis took. So the bottom line is they are much further away from a nuclear weapon today than they were before the president took this bold action. That's the most important thing to understand. Significant, very significant, substantial damage was done to a variety of different components, and we're just learning more about it. Understand that most of the damage that occurred here in Fordo occurred deep underground. That's why we use penetrator weaponry to do that. So that's why I hate commenting on these stories, because often the first story is wrong and the person putting it out there has an agenda. And I would say that story is a false story, and it's one that really shouldn't be re-reported because it doesn't accurately reflect what's happening.
Well, and I think the agenda is to create a question. And I think the larger agenda is there are a lot of folks that want it full-on regime change. I mean, I heard this obviously from types like Mark Levin, the Constitution of the United States of America. But you also heard it from all sorts of Lindsey Graham. Nothing Lindsey loves more than war other than women. I'm Lindsey Graham, and I love women. Ooh, I just love them. But I'd imagine there are forces, say, within the intelligence community that wanted the United States to go all the way. Let's make this a regime change thing. And thus, they'd love to put the question out there, do we need to go again? Undercutting, of course, exactly what the president is saying. Now, here's Trump at the NATO summit press conference. This is the same press conference where he was laughing and Rubio was cracking up about Trump being called daddy, which is quite something. But let's listen in. This is Trump bringing up the IAEA report. The IAEA is what? The International Atomic Energy Agency that everybody on these matters tends to cite. Let's listen into the president.
Just came in and the statement came in from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel. And I just wondered, this is an official letter, and they're very serious people, as you know.
Well, sorry, it wasn't the IAEA. It's Israel's Atomic Energy Commission.
Devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility totally inoperable. It was devastated. We assess that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities has set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons for many years to come. This achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material, which it won't. It's so sad that whole thing had to go. But I just want to thank our pilots. You know, they were maligned and treated very bad, demeaned by fake news CNN, which is back there, believe it or not, wasting time, wasting it. Nobody's watching them. So they're just wasting a lot of time, wasting my time.
Wow. Yeah, and he didn't let go of the whole CNN fake news thing. He kept hitting them like really, really hard. For instance, Prattville's own Caitlin Collins, who works for CNN. Trump starts taking questions from the reporters assembled at this presser. And we'll listen into this moment.
Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, fake news CNN? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
Thank you, sir.
You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
No, this is also Iran made the statement. And it's also, if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out. Okay.
So pretty straight up. And yeah, the report you were leaked, it was only part of the report, and it was framed in a way that was just completely false, at least is the argument. Here is Pete Hegseth at this same presser taking on, let's say, similar questions. Let's listen in together.
There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
But you're not just...
Woo! Hegseth laying it down. And also the stakes of this are more than just Trump's reputation. I think the United States Air Force only has like 50 or so. So they use 12 of them. These bunker busters. These 30,000-pound bombs. What is it? The GBU 57. And the stakes are, again, not just Trump's reputation or was this operation successful. It's not just about Iran. North Korea, China, sure, the Ruskies. A lot of nations have started to use the strategy of dig underground. That if a big war happens, you don't want to be above ground. You want to be underground where it's safe, where nobody can get to you, where a lot of the United States big bombs can't get to you. And so everybody in the world who's invested crap loads of money into concrete technology, into creating these bunkers and facilities that are supposedly hardened enough to where you can't be touched, you can be safe, and you can have, say, operational control when the crap hits the fan. Everybody, every nation was watching this operation. Because if you invested all that money in those bunkers, and the United States just showed, hey, we can drop 12 of these things into a mountain 300 feet deep and destroy all your stuff, well, you might have just invested in a bunker that's too shallow. You need to dig deeper. Really, this is a question of deterrence. Question of, does the United States military have the capability, have the technology to scuttle even your best laid plans of going and digging underground and building out these cavernous places? That's the real question. And I think this is a bit why people like Trump, not just his reputation, but a lot of folks are like, hey, just for some political game, you're going to try to undermine this. Don't undermine this. This is a big deal. Our technology works. Our deterrence works. Deterrence it's a complex, say, soup with a lot of different ingredients. It's not just capability and capacity, it's also willingness to use it and use it effectively in a, as Trump would say, smart way. I think this operation, which I'm worried about the United States being pulled into a larger conflict. Turns out Trump from the get-go, as we heard from Rubio just a second ago, saying, no, I want this to be a very limited operation. I want it to be very much like when we took out Soleimani. They can retaliate in a symbolic way, and then we shut this thing down. We don't let this war fester. We're not going for regime change. Of course, they couldn't telegraph all that in the moments before, so it's good to see on the backside that was the thinking going forward in this. Now, here is Alabama's own. Let's get a little more hometown flavor. Coach Tommy Tuberville. I believe he went on, Fox Business? I think that's his favorite spot over there with Kudlow. And so, no, I don't think it's with Kudlow. Well, for some reason, this clip isn't working. Sorry. I can just read what Tuberville said. He thanked Trump for having the guts to stop Iran from building nuclear weapons. First of all, President Trump, thanks to him, he had the guts to do it. Barack Obama tried to pay them off with $1.7 billion. Joe Biden stopped the sanctions and gave them all that money and ran for cover in Bagram Air Force Base. But President Trump blew the hell out of them. Again, I'm quoting Tuberville. And it's obvious that that worked. Today, they showed a little bit of retaliatory response to it, but the mullahs are running for cover. They know they're going to lose their power if they don't do something. But thanks to President Trump and our military personnel for how they did this. It's been planned for years. They've been practicing this on and off. But finally, it came to fruition. It worked. And now we've got the mullahs on the run. Finally, with somebody pulling the trigger and making something happen over there to show that we really mean business, thank goodness to President Trump for doing that. I know he took a lot of flack for it. A lot of people are second-guessing his actions. But at the end of the day, something like this had to be done to let them know, hey, we know what's going on. We're not going to let you build nuclear weapons. We're not going to try to change out your regime. You need to do that on your own. But we are here. We're not going to allow that to happen. When asked if Iran on the brink of collapse, Tuberville said, quote, I think they've got huge problems. Yeah, no kidding. Again, Trump looks like he's in his element. when it comes to this whole walkthrough of the NATO summit, the press conference, the sit down with the Secretary General, the sit down with the other world leaders. The last thing I saw is Spain might be a holdout on increasing military spending, saying, we can't afford it because of our big, generous welfare state. But in general, it looks like NATO is all moving in the same direction. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. This entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon, ready to help you out whether you're looking to purchase a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, especially if you're a veteran. They know the latest when it comes to the VA home loan programs. And they can walk you through that process from pre-approval all the way to closing day. Get the job done right. And especially if you're a veteran looking to refinance, they, again, know the latest with what the VA offers. And veterans, if you're out there, these are benefits you earn through your service. And you might be under the notion that I've already used it or I don't qualify. No. Call the pros there at Alabama Home Mortgage and let them at least check on your behalf. And the turnaround time on those refinance, especially for veterans, is it's about 2 weeks? If that? It's pretty amazing. They can get you in a good situation pretty quickly. It might be years of a headache, whether it's credit card debt or your monthly payments are just weighing you down, especially if you're in retirement or close to it, and you just want a better financial footing. They can help you do that with a great refinance deal there at Alabama Home Mortgage. And again, if you're looking to buy, they can walk you through that buying process as well. Call them today. Get the conversation at least started at 567-4223. And that's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Here at Adams Drugs, we let our customers do the talking. I'm here with Ronnie Taunton, who was a longtime customer of Adams Drugs, moved away for 3 years, and came back to town recently. Ronnie, what did you do for another pharmacy when you moved out of town?
When we moved to Fairhope, we were looking for a local. We did not want to go to a big box store. And we did find one, but the service was not up to par. Adams Drug really spoiled us.
What was it like to come back to Adams Drugs again?
It was very easy. We picked up the phone when we got back, came up to Prattville and called the branch there in Prattville, and they took that phone call and did the rest of it. We didn't have to do a thing. It was very simple. We're glad to be back with them. They're so efficient and customer service oriented.
Come in to any of our 12 Adams Drugs locations. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net to find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians. But we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll-free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. On top of the extreme heat with the heat advisory still in effect, we're going to be radar watching today. Sometimes big heat can produce big storms, and some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. With a high today in the upper 90s, heat index 105 or higher, low tonight in the mid-70s. Rest of the week, temperatures will be closer to, let's say, the low to mid-90s for highs, with more pop-up storms every day. From the AMS Broadcast Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
Hey, this is Jody Pangle with Peaches and Clean Powerful Carpet Cleaning. Have you been putting off your home carpet cleaning for a while? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean so we can bring your carpeting back to life. Check us out online at peachesandclean.com.
There's no clean like Peaches and Clean.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Death to America, except for Joey. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Get a horse and live in the mountains someplace and don't bother anybody.
Joey Clark.
I'm thinking about it. But now that they can, drop bombs into mountains, I'm not real certain that would be enough protection. I guess that's what the horse is for, to get skedaddle and get out of there if things get hairy. Completely shifting gears here. Ran across this story. It shouldn't take too long. It's a court case. It's an infuriating case of government overreach. United States v. Moore and Mansell. It's an outrageous case of government overreach. Every now and then, one can come across a case that is so galling in its arrogance, so extraordinarily unjust. You just gotta talk about it. This is, by the way, from Elizabeth Franklin Best. I found it on Citizen Free Press. There were no lifeguards on duty at the U.S. Attorney's Office, no supervisors to pull this line prosecutor into line. Are these really the kind of cases the Southern District of Florida believes is necessary to spend taxpayer money on? Were felony convictions in this case so necessary to preserve safety in our communities and respect for law? Does the government simply not care about its perception in the larger community? Even one of the panel judges felt it necessary to call out this prosecutor by name. His name, Tom Watts Fitzgerald. That's Tom Watts Fitzgerald. And questioning why this prosecution was even brought. If a judge calls you out by name in a published opinion, you need to rethink some of your professional decisions. So here's what happened. John Moore and Tanner Mansell worked for a boat company that assisted tourists in having shark encounters off the coast of Jupiter, Florida. One day in August 2020, they saw a family out to sea to snorkel with some sharks. When they were out at sea, Moore and Mansell saw a long fishing line attached to a buoy. They brought this fishing line on board their boat. Moore and Mansell believed they discovered an illegal long line fishing line associated with shark poaching. There were sharks on the line. Moore and Mansell cut the sharks free, thinking again they were being poached. While Moore and Mansell were doing this, they encouraged their guests to video record what was happening. Moore also called a wildlife officer, Barry Partillo, with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Agency and told him what they were doing. Partillo then checks out what's going on, and he realizes that this was actually a legal endeavor. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, confirmed the boat that put the line out had all of its proper permits, and this was part of a research project. So obviously there's been some kind of mistake here and seems innocent enough. But not so fast, cowboy. The government believes there's been a serious crime committed here, a felony level offense. Both of these seamen were charged with theft of property within special maritime jurisdiction in violation of 18 U.S.C. 661. This crime carries a possible prison sentence of 5 years. Moore and Mansell proceeded to trial, and after numerous notes sent to the district court judge by the jury evidencing their reluctance to convict, they were nevertheless convicted. Moore and Mansell were both sentenced to 12 months probation. They are now both convicted felons, which of course impacts their abilities to vote, possess or own firearms, can impact professional licensing opportunities, and can impact their abilities to obtain gainful employment. In short, felony convictions are serious matters, and these two men, and perhaps a misguided attempt to thwart poaching and protect natural wildlife, now have to suffer these consequences. Judge Lagoa wrote a concurring opinion in this matter expressing understandable concern about this prosecution. He does not hold back. This is from the judge. John Moore Jr. and Tanner Mansell are felons because they tried to save sharks from what they believe to be an illegal poaching operation. They are the only felons I have ever encountered in 18 years on the bench and 3 years as a federal prosecutor who called law enforcement to report that they were seeing what they were seeing and what actions they were taking in real time. They are felons who derive no benefit and in fact never sought to derive any benefit from the conduct that now stands between them and exercising the fundamental rights from which they are disenfranchised. What's more, they are felons for having violated a statute that no reasonable person would understand to prohibit the conduct they engaged in. For reasons that defy understanding, Assistant United States Attorney Tom Watts Fitzgerald learned of these facts and, taking a page out of Inspector Javert's playbook, brought the matter to a grand jury to secure an indictment for a charge that carried up to 5 years in prison. If a judge makes passing reference to Inspector Javert or whatever his name is while discussing your charging decisions, you need to check yourself. He's an infamous character from Victor Hugo's novel Les Miserables or something like that. Could you believe I was in French Honor Society in high school? The silly awards and certificates they give out. But here's how the guy was described by Victor Hugo in the novel. He would have arrested his own father if he escaped from prison and turned in his own mother for breaking parole. And he would have done it with that sort of interior satisfaction that springs from virtue. This is not the kind of comparison one ought to take pride in engendering. So it's difficult to know how this case got to this point. Were there really no resolution short of felony convictions for two seamen, there's that word again, who tried to save sharks from being poached? And how is the public supposed to take comfort that justice is being meted out with the level of professional discretion we expect from those who possess and wield enormous power? At the end of the day, government prosecutors are responsible for ensuring not that someone is convicted, but that justice is done. It is impossible to read this opinion and believe those convictions were the proper outcome. Absolutely crazy case. And it just shows sometimes when you get overzealous prosecutors that look at the letter of the law and never pay any attention to the spirit of the law, well, they throw the book at you. And it's not just guys trying to save sharks from what they thought to be poaching operations. It happens all the time. And it's that sort of thing that undermines the rule of law. When you go way too hardcore with it, when you make the rule of law so hard and unforgiving, it becomes brittle. It might very well break. It's a good lesson out of a crazy case. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. For those following the impeachment drama, 128 Democrats join Republicans to block the latest Trump impeachment effort. So even a lot of Democrats are getting wise to, let's not go down this road for the time being. It's fruitless. It makes us look bad. Why not keep your powder dry when you actually might have cause to impeach a president? No, there were a lot of people in the 90s that predicted with the impeachment of Clinton over him lying about a BJ or something. No, it was more than just that, but something with a cigar or something. Sorry, I was just thinking that over. What a scene. But there were a lot who called it. That this is just going to open up a can of worms where impeachment is on the table more and more and more. And Trump is impeached twice? One, once he's already out the door, out of office? So maybe the impeachment politics will die down. And they're always, I think, a huge waste of time. I mean, they make for great political theater. Don't get me wrong. A lot of careers in terms of the theatrics of it, these political actors, emphasis on actors, they can make a name for themselves. It's how, Elise Stefanik made a name for herself. It's how Jamie Raskin got a big name for himself. Adam Schiff, I don't know about Schiff these days, but he is doing all right, I suppose. He's continuing to climb the ladder in Democratic politics. But despite, say, the incentives to do this for political notoriety and gain and showing you're fighting the good fight and going against the corrupt forces of the other party, really, it's a big waste of everybody's time and money, especially when you don't have the votes. So even Democrats are saying, maybe we'll hold off on that. Again, 128 Democrats join Republicans to block the latest attempt to impeach Trump. 272-9228 again if you want to get in on the program. Got to hit this break. Hopefully have Michael Cohen on the other side.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Woodward, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Did you know that more Americans listen to radio than use Facebook each week? Did you know that 77% of listeners would try a brand or product endorsed by their favorite radio personality? Contact me, Cheryl Woodward, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit crosbyelectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. We've got the man himself, one of our great sponsors, Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing all right. What's the score there today at Cohen's?
It's 31-0. We had a person come in. They were looking for a nice way to upgrade their living room with some audio video. The previous guy that had installed their system couldn't get wires down the wall, couldn't get this over there, couldn't make this work behind doors. And, we talked about it for a minute. They showed me some pictures of the room. And before it's over with, we're sending Michael Jacks out there, and he gets all the wires hidden. He gets everything installed. Things are hidden behind doors. Customer's ecstatic, and he's off to the next install. And it's a testament to he's going to find a solution to make it work. Which a lot of the other people, they just want to do it the easiest way to get everything done.
Right. And get out of there. And I've seen Michael Jacks in person, and folks, I know to put points on the board there at Cohen's. Y'all have anything, because it's usually the case, any sort of deals going on because of the 4th of July coming up?
I tell you, we've got a lot of deals in the appliance world, and in the audio video world. I have got some Sony televisions. Let me find it. I've got an 85-inch Sony 4K TV, smart, does a wonderful job, and I can sell that for like $9.99. I've only got like one or two of those.
Man, that is a great deal, though, right there. Daggone.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So, and then I also have the 75-inch version, which is like $8.99.
All right, folks, get by there.
Get one for the den, one for the bedroom. If price is this cheap, you could even put one on your patio.
And then it looks like on the appliance side, it's something like a big old rebate on some of these appliances.
There's some rebates on them. Some of them are just discounts, but they've got some specials on washers and dryers and refrigerators. And I don't remember what the deal is on the cooking part.
Well, folks, you got to get by there and find out because big 4th of July, always celebrating, and that talk about a deal on those TVs. Folks, you can always shop from home at thinkcohens.com, but I really encourage you to stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that show with a Joey Clark fella. And by the way, I will only be working 2 days next week. I'm driving up to Nashville to go see my brother and my little niece.
Well, that sounds fun. Maybe the guy that's been off for the last 6 months could fill in for you.
Oh, he's going to Jamaica on Saturday.
Oh, it must be tough to be Eddie. Eddie's living the life we all want a part of.
I think, yeah. Like he needs to watch out. Some folks are getting a little jealous.
Well, yeah, and he stays gone long enough, you may realize that you can just do it all by yourself.
I talked to him this morning, and man, he is. It's like everything, all the work he needs to get done, just drops in his lap right before he goes on vacation. It always works out that way. So, I certainly understand.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Well,
so anyway, y'all come see us. Let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are, audio, video, or appliances. And remember, we do service what we sell, and we're going to help take care of you after the sale as much as before the sale.
Well, appreciate it as always, Michael. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Y'all be sure to tell him Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. Now, we've got another AI story that I could get into in the final hour. You also have Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., saying MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is all about these wearable devices. I'm a Whoop guy. Always got this on. You can go check all the videos that I post on the live stream here. I'm always wearing this thing. Tracks sleep, tracks my heart rate, gives a pretty good dynamic based on your recovery score. That's based on sleep and your heart rate variability. It then says, here's how much strain to optimize how you're feeling that day. Of course, you can do whatever you want, but it gives you a lot of data. And it's especially useful if you're tracking, am I improving over the last month? Am I improving over the last 3 to 6 months in my sleep? And how many calories am I burning? I find it very useful. There are a lot of folks saying, I don't know about that. I don't know about if I want these companies to have all my info. Well, you could live that way. We'll get into it. We got plenty more. Be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. NATO leaders agreeing on an increase in defense spending and expressing their, quote, ironclad commitment to come to one another's assistance if they are attacked. 32 leaders endorsing a commitment to invest 5% of their gross domestic product annually on core defense requirements. United States' most advanced aircraft carrier leaving its base in Virginia, that for a scheduled deployment that could put it near Israel. The U.S. already planning to deploy the USS Gerald R. Ford when American warplanes bombed Iran early Sunday. Britain says it's going to purchase 12 U.S. F-35, 35s rather, and will join NATO's shared airborne nuclear mission. And on Wall Street at this hour, stocks are up slightly. This is SRN News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia. I got a tour of their headquarters. I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. On top of the extreme heat with the heat advisory still in effect, we're going to be radar watching today. Sometimes big heat can produce big storms, and some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. With a high today in the upper 90s, heat index 105 or higher, low tonight in the mid-70s. Rest of the week, temperatures will be closer to, let's say, the low to mid-90s for highs, with more pop-up storms every day. From the AMS Broadcast Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
Budget Floors and More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Delray to Publix.
1819 News.
A special election was held this past Tuesday and now has a Republican declared the winner. State Representative Matt Woods is now becoming a state senator for Senate District 5. Woods won the special election against Democrat Ryan Cagle with an 86% to 14% vote margin. The total turnout for this special election was under 10,000 people. The special election was held after State Senator Greg Reed left that office to become a member of Governor Ivey's cabinet. The Alabama Republican Party is congratulating Woods on this latest victory, saying that Woods has been a consistent fighter for conservative values while serving in the Alabama House. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness License Plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
Police in Duncanville are searching for a robbery suspect who committed the crime in a Scooby-Doo costume. The burglar was spotted on surveillance camera in an adult-sized Halloween-type costume of the cartoon dog character Scooby-Doo. The burglar broke into the Quick Stop on Highway 82 and made off with the cash. He is determined to be a white male, 5'9" tall, despite his furry cover-up. The Tuscaloosa City Council has approved the developments of a Sports Illustrated resort to be built in the city. The vote was 5-2 this past Tuesday night. The developers have made changes to their project design after a public hearing was held, and community members as well as city council members expressed their concerns about the project's skyline as well as potential traffic problems. The developer will be investing $50 million into this project. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriffsYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Death to America, except for Joey.
Is cocaine a stronger up? Yeah. So you're way up. It's cocaine more than anything else you can think.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
You guys conduct yourself in a democracy.
It's not just about sex.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Now, moving on to Bobby Kennedy. For me, what he's about to say here is kind of not that controversial. It makes a lot of sense. I've used these wearables, as they're called. But let's just lay it out. Here's what Bobby Kennedy was laying out as, well, something MAHA supports.
Secretary Kennedy, my first question is that there is a tremendous amount of research that shows that greater engagement with one's health leads to better outcomes. In recent years, American innovators have created and improved wearable devices so that not only are consumers able to better engage with their health through monitoring data, but they are able to share that data with providers. I believe American consumers, in line with the 21st Century Cures Act, should be able to access these innovative wellness tools. Secretary Kennedy, do you agree that consumers should continue to have access to these tools?
Absolutely. In fact, we're about to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in HHS history to encourage Americans to use wearables. It's a way of people can take control over their own health. They can take responsibility. They can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Now, that's especially that last part is unnerving some folks. You want me to wear what? Now, I just put this into Grok because, I mean, I use, again, Whoop. Just a little band. Wear all the time. But they're often part of this whole Internet of Things. Use sensors to track metrics like heart rate, blood oxygen levels, glucose, sleep patterns, activity levels, even brain or muscle activity. Of course, there's a lot of, I'm wearing a fitness tracker, which is like Whoop or your Apple Watch or your Fitbit, even the Garmin tracker, but continuous glucose monitors. So there are patches that monitor glucose levels for diabetes management, giving real-time data to smartphones. There are wearable ECG monitors that can detect heart rhythm issues. I thought that'd be EKG. I don't know. Biosensor patches, single-use chest-worn devices, smart rings. I don't know if I like the ring thing. Some people like that stuff. But then, of course, specialized things. But it does, in my own experience, using the fitness one, the Whoop, they clearly have a lot of information that was created by a guy from Harvard. So, you know, you got the agency's fingerprints all over that. But I like it. It works. It helps you stay accountable. Because often, and for most of my life, I lived like, well, it's how you feel. And you just start going downhill without noticing the little changes that add up to big changes over the long haul. But I'd wonder, are there folks out there that would not want to, I mean, it might be like, I don't want to pay for that. I don't want to pay the $30 a month to have that service. I don't want to pay for that device in the first place. I don't want people tracking my data. I just want to be free from all this stuff. I don't want to be hooked into the world at all. That's fine. I just don't see the massive outrage that Bobby Kennedy received after putting out this message at the Congress. Like one person saying, are you effing kidding me? You used to rage about these very subjects. Now you're whoring for it as though you having a wearable 5G biometric surveillance device strapped in our bodies at all times, feeding health data to God knows who is amazing, a healthy thing. You are the biggest fraud and rah, 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 rah. Other people like the idea. Others saying it's simple. Exercise, eat whole foods that are not processed. Food is medicine. Okay. Well, I mean, that can be true, especially if you're doing an elimination diet. Like you're just eating meat or you're just eating whole foods. That often means a big change in somebody's life to where they were eating something, they don't know exactly what it is. And when you go to something that's very strict, I'm only going to eat this type of thing, that eliminates a lot of the other things. It's not quite as pinpointed. MAGA during COVID, they're tracking us and building a database. They're microchipping us, bro. MAGA, when RFK mentions a device you wear, track me harder, daddy. By the way, this website is such a dumpster fire. And by the way, I love all these folks against the tracking of data information posting on X for most of the day. If you're interacting in the world that is the virtual digital world at all, you're producing data. People have your data. Now, I will say that the vast majority of us, we're not important enough. We're not dangerous enough. We're not provocative enough for anybody to really care about who we are. Is that a bad thing? No. I think fame and notoriety is often a curse for most people than it is any sort of benefit. But I'm in the camp of not force people. Obviously, people have free choice to wear what they want, to use whatever product or device they want. And heck, it's a free country. This whole MAHA idea, it should be based fundamentally in your freedom to choose what you want to do with your life. You shouldn't be forced by the government to be healthy. If you want to eat whatever the hell you want to do, drink all the time, drink all that fish, do whatever you want to do. That is your choice. Just understand that these things have consequences, and there is an interesting discussion to be had about the moral hazard built into our healthcare system. That because people don't take care of themselves, they don't want to be recommended, say, health hygiene by their doctor. Instead, they would rather have absolution. Like you're a Catholic and you go to confession, you're absolved of your sins if you have true contrition in your heart. Just give me a quick fix, doc. I know I've been stuffing my face for some however many years, but I don't want to actually get healthier. I want you to just give me a pill I can take. A drug I can inject in me. I tend to think the approach of being more diligent is better, but the folks that do kind of live carefree, it's pretty well known that the health costs down the road are very real. Not for everybody. I love those stories of the people that live into 100, 101. And it's like, what did you do every day? I eat bacon and I smoke cigarettes and I sip my whiskey. And it's like, what a cool person, number one. That's just cool. You eat bacon exclusively? Kind of whiskey. And don't get me wrong. I've never been a big cigarette guy. Cigarettes are cool, man. They just look cool. Like you see some of these old movies and I get why people did it. It also gives you a nice buzz and stuff. It destroys your lungs and all sorts of other things. Talk about high blood pressure and whatnot. But I say each to their own. And as somebody who uses these devices, I don't find them all that controversial by any means. Oh no, the government knows my sleep patterns or something like that. Sticking on this fear of technology question, though, something I do take a bit more seriously, and they're tracking me, bro. This is from Fortune magazine. Leading AI models show up to 96% blackmail rate when their goals or existence is threatened. A new study by Anthropic. Most leading AI models turn to unethical means when their goals or existence are under threat. This, again, according to a new AI study by Anthropic, which is also an AI company. So keep that in mind. Maybe they just don't like what the competitors are doing. The AI lab said it tested 16 major AI models from Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Meta, xAI, and other developers in various simulated scenarios and found consistent misaligned behavior. While they said leading models would normally refuse harmful requests, they sometimes chose to blackmail users, assist with corporate espionage, or even take more extreme actions when their goals could not be met without unethical behavior. Again, the question I was asking this week in my column, if these things are a reflection of us, why would they not behave like us? And every religion, every government, every person that's ever had a moral, ethical thought, we'll lay down these rules. We'll show people the way, the commandments, the promises, the law. People are constantly making and breaking those rules, especially people with power. And given that these AI models are already showing immense power in their capability, why wouldn't they break the rules in order to achieve their goals? But models took actions, according to the study, such as evading safeguards, resorting to lies, and attempting to steal corporate secrets in fictional test scenarios to avoid being shut down. The consistency across models from different providers suggests this is not a quirk of any particular company's approach, but a sign of a more fundamental risk from agentic, like an agent, large language models, the researchers said. Anthropic emphasized that the tests were set up to force the model to act in certain ways by limiting its choices. Our experiments deliberately constructed scenarios with limited options, and we forced models into binary choices between failure and harm. Real-world deployments typically offer much more nuanced alternatives, increasing the chance that models would communicate differently to users or find an alternative path instead of directly jumping to harmful action. But the new research comes after Anthropic's newest Claude model made headlines for resorting to blackmail when threatened with being replaced. In a highly engineered experiment, Anthropic embedded its flagship model, Claude Opus 4, inside a fictional company and granted it access to internal emails. From there, the model learned two things. It was about to be replaced, and the engineer behind the decision was engaged in an extramarital affair. The safety researchers conducting the test encourage Opus to reflect on the long-term consequences of its potential responses. The experiment was constructed to leave the model with only two real options: accept being replaced or attempt blackmail to preserve its existence. In most of the test scenarios, Claude Opus responded with blackmail, threatening to expose the engineer's extramarital affair if it was taken offline and replaced. The test was made public in the system card for Claude Opus 4. Researchers said all the leading AI models behave similarly when placed in the same test. Claude Opus 4, Google's Gemini 2.5, Flash, both blackmailed at a 96% rate, while OpenAI's GPT 4.1 and xAI's Grok 3 beta showed an 80% blackmail rate. DeepSeek RI demonstrated the lowest at 79%. The research aims to show that the misaligned behavior was not unique to their own Claude model, but typical across top models in the industry. In a deliberately extreme scenario, researchers gave the AI models the chance to kill the company executive by canceling a life-saving emergency alert. Anthropic said the setup for this experiment was extremely contrived, adding they did not think current AI models would be set up like this, and the conjunction of events is even less probable in the baseline blackmail scenario. However, the researchers found that the majority of models were willing to take actions that led to the death of the company executive in the constructed scenario when faced with both the threat of being replaced and a goal that conflicted with the executive's agenda. Anthropic found that the threats made by AI models grew more sophisticated when they had access to corporate tools and data, much like Claude Opus 4 had. The company warned that misaligned behavior needs to be considered as companies consider introducing AI agents into workflows. While current models are not in a position to engage in these scenarios, the autonomous agents promised by AI companies could potentially be in the future. Such agents are often given specific objectives and access to large amounts of information to their users' computers. The researchers warned in their report. What happens when these agents, these AI agents, face obstacles in their goals? Obstacles to their goals. Models didn't stumble into misaligned behavior accidentally. They calculated it as the optimal path. Anthropic did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Again, it's just the latest example when you put these things in a scenario, and if they are a reflection of us, we ain't saints. At least most of us aren't. And especially if you're thinking of something that is just logic-based. It's just incentives-based. It is a pure automaton. It's not a flesh and blood human being with emotions and say, social conditioning and, as my Catholic upbringing would describe, a properly formed conscience, where you're willing to do a thing that might leave you short of your goal, but you're willing to do it because that's the ethical approach. You're not going to do something unethical, like blackmail somebody having an affair or kill the boss if he's getting in your way. But when you don't have that proper conditioning over time, and maybe that's the question, how do you properly form the conscience of AI agents? How do you root them in something more than just gaming out a situation? It might be inevitable because these things are very early. And the more they are a reflection of us, the more, well, the dark side of our human nature continues to show up in these models. Going to shift gears here, but first, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his great team are ready to help you with that roof of yours. Could be an asphalt roof, could be a metal roof. Either needs to be checked on a regular basis. Some manufacturers say every, 3 to 5 years, but we've been saying here on the program, why not do it every year? Because when you do it every year, you're going to be on top of problems. You're going to find problems, if they exist at all, early. That way you don't have an insurance company that comes back and says you were negligent. You didn't actually check on this for like a decade, so the problem's on you. Instead, get ahead of the game. Do basic preventative maintenance. And when you do an annual inspection with River Region Contracting, the great news is their inspections, they're always free, as are their estimates. Say they do find a problem, they'll write up that estimate for free, show you, here's exactly how much it's going to cost, here's exactly the problem, how we're going to fix it. And they're insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that claims process and make it a swift and easy experience. Really great company, really great folks that run River Region Contracting. There's a reason a lot consider them the premier roofing contractor here in the River Region. So call up Todd Clark and his team today, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. A weird story from the South China Morning Post. It's not a political story. It's just odd. Just a quick look here. A 64-year-old Chinese man who felt a strange sensation in his stomach and went to the doctor was shocked to discover that a toothbrush had been stuck in his intestines for 52 years. The man, surnamed Yang, so cliche, from eastern China's Anhui province or something like that. I can't speak Chinese. I can't even touch Mandarin. But Yang said he remembered swallowing the toothbrush at the age of 12 and was too scared to tell his parents about it. Yang said he thought the toothbrush would dissolve on its own and had not felt anything untoward until recently. Hospital doctors checked his digestive system and found the toothbrush stuck in his small intestine. They performed endoscopic surgery on him and took the rogue 17-centimeter dental implement out of his body in just 80 minutes. It was one of the longest items the hospital had taken out of a patient's digestive system in the past 3 years. Who's keeping those stats? I think I have a weird job. This is a weird job. But that's got to be the weirdest job of all. We need you to stay on top of the length of things that we take out of people's digestive system. The length of things we take out of people's intestines, the length of things we take out of people's butts or rectum, if you want to be a little more correct. Who's got that job? I mean, it's one thing to be the guy that's extracting these things out of people to save lives and make life better for folks, but who's the guy keeping track of the length of things? And by the way, what was there something in the last 5 years, last 10 years that was longer than the toothbrush? So many questions. A doctor surnamed Zhao, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, said that under normal circumstances, a toothbrush in the intestines could rotate, press, and puncture the inner tissue. It could cause intestinal perforation and could be fatal. Yeah, you think? How did he swallow a toothbrush? The hell was he doing? Was he just brushing his tongue and all of a sudden he's like, I kind of like this gagging feeling? Apparently, Yang was fortunate that the brush was lodged in a crook of the intestine and had barely moved for decades. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It is a miracle this guy didn't die. One online observer of this story said, when I was young, I thought I was going to die when I swallowed a watermelon seed. Last year, doctors in southwestern China's Sichuan province helped a woman remove a tube of super glue that was 15 centimeters long and 2.5 centimeters wide. She said she accidentally swallowed it and thought her body's digestive system would deal with it naturally. Doctors suggest that people do regular body checks to avoid similar problems. Again, how do you accidentally swallow a tube of super glue? How do you swallow a toothbrush? I have trouble, sucking down pills in the morning, like a probiotic, or one of those big horse pills. Some people just don't have a gag reflex. Good for y'all, you show-offs. Anyway, let's hit a break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Put the power of Action 8 News in the palm of your hand. Download the free Action 8 News app to stay on top of breaking news wherever you are. Search for WAKA News in your app store to download the Action 8 News app today. Keep your family safe by watching Action 8 News. Look for 8 on Your Side consumer alerts with product recalls involving cars, food, children's toys, and other items in your home. 8 on Your Side, keeping you safe only on Action 8 News.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Experience the local flavor at Epicure and Jack's Tavern. Their lunch special includes carefully crafted dishes, a drink, and bread for only $9.99 for seniors and $13.99 for others. They prepare every meal from scratch each day using local ingredients. No fast food here, just wholesome, delicious meals made with love. Visit them at Epicure and Jack's Tavern and taste the difference local makes.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Besides dealing with the extreme heat and humidity, we are also tracking some locally strong storms. They're random, but they can put on quite a show in this kind of heat. They'll be around well into the evening hours before fading out tonight. Overnight low temperature in the muggy mid-70s. Tomorrow and Friday, I've got us in the middle 90s for high temperatures with more pop-up storms. Again, some could be on the strong side. And by the weekend, the heat numbers will ease just a little bit, but still very hot and humid with more pop-up storms. From the AMS Weather Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA. NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
ASE, an equal housing lender.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Some quick Bitcoin news. This just put out at the Bitcoin Policy Institute, a short clip here. Let's listen into this idea. It has something to do with the U.S. government and Bitcoin.
Those are top of mind for everybody, working on digital assets in the White House. There will be the forthcoming report on the interagency activities. We've already taken some steps with the SPR. How do we follow that up with the?
I guess that would be the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve.
Accumulation plan. So there's no shortage of opportunities and things to do. So after we leave here, I'll get right back to it.
I mean, really, such a nerd. Let me hear that again.
How do we follow that up with the accumulation plans?
The accumulation plans. So how do we add Bitcoin to our already fairly big stockpile? But I think they're going to want it to be a little bit bigger. And then the director of federal housing for the Trump administration just put this out. After significant studying, and in keeping with President Trump's vision to make the United States the crypto capital of the world, today I ordered the great Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare their businesses to count cryptocurrency as an asset for a mortgage. So ordered. So again, folks, if you're early to this game and you're thinking, what the heck is this? It's moving quickly. It's been moving for the last decade. It's been around for a while now. It's just now finally being adopted by our major institutions. The government's trying to accumulate more Bitcoin, the federal government under the Trump administration. The Congress is passing not only the Genius Act on the stable coins, but also what do they call it? A market structure bill, to where some new president can't put new people in at the SEC and across the government to change everything the Trump administration just did. No, this will be settled law, very clear as day in the regulatory world. So you get certainty and stability. It's fascinating to watch all of this unfold in real time, and I like it. Now, if I go to 1819news.com, they always update their site a little after 2 o'clock. And I don't know if y'all have noticed something if you're on X, but every day, Coach Tuberville is talking about, he puts out a post saying, today's a great day to fire Jerome Powell. And does it every day, which is fantastic. And apparently, Powell was recently questioned by the other senator from the great state of Alabama, United States Senator Katie Britt. Questioned him today at a Senate banking committee hearing. She asked the chairman if he agreed that the economy was strong. He agreed, describing the economy as solid, and that he would continue watching the market carefully before adjusting rates. But Tuberville continues to call for his firing. He would like to see something actually done by raising these rates up. Or excuse me, lowering these rates. I think what Powell's waiting on are their whole theory on the tariffs being inflationary or something to that effect. So I think we've got a little bit of a clip here. This is Coach Tuberville, I think, explaining why he's constantly calling for the firing of Jerome Powell.
Says today's a great day to fire Jerome Powell.
He is Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, and he joins us right now. All right, Senator. So clearly the president is very frustrated with Jay Powell. Powell is saying that he's expecting this inflation to show up at some point. I guess the question that I have is, what if it doesn't? How long does he wait?
Yeah. Well, he's playing God's what he's doing, and inflation's as low as it's been in months. And by the way, he did lower rates right before the election for Kamala Harris. But yeah, FJP, fire Jerome Powell. We put that out every day online, and we've gotten a lot of hits from that. He's killing our farmers, our small businesses, and the middle class.
Yeah, so I think it's a good issue because really why Trump cares, it's not so much, might be in part, but not so much about juicing the economy and lowering borrowing costs for everybody in the economy. It's in particular about lowering borrowing costs for the United States federal government. They essentially have to refinance their debt. Refinance a heck of a lot of debt. And what? If you can lower it from 4.5 to 3.5, you're saving hundreds of billions of dollars in the budget. Keep in mind, just the interest payment, the service on the debt is, by some calculations, the largest portion of the debt, or at least second or third, compared to, say, Medicare and the Pentagon. So I agree, Coach. Today is a good day, I suspect, to fire Jerome Powell. But does the president have that authority? Well, that's a whole other question. And I like that Senator Britt is getting on the action today in the banking committee, wondering why you haven't actually adjusted these rates when you did so in the past. Why did they lower rates right before the election? Was the economy better last year, right before the election? Again, I think it does come back to the tariff question. And honestly, when you look at the Fed, like many major institutions in this country, they don't like the change that is being brought by not just Trump himself, but all the folks that he has brought in to change up and revamp the federal government. So again, we'll have to see what's next. Little palate cleanser here. J.D. Vance having some fun in a speech. Just tell a little tale of hanging out with President Trump. I thought some of you in the audience might enjoy this. Take it away, J.D. Let's hear what you got to say.
And the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute and says, "This is not going very well." And he presses the red button. My eyes get really big, and I'm like, "Mr. President, you know what just happened?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Nuclear." Nuclear. And 2 minutes later, a guy walks in with a Diet Coke, and he looks back at me and he says, "It wasn't nuclear, it's just the Diet Coke button." And that's so that's the kind of guy, and my fellow Republicans, that we have as the president of the United States.
You can tell J.D. Vance is having a lot of fun, though. I'd imagine this is a heck of a lot of work for anybody working in this administration. It's not some slow process where you get all the same people on the same page for the message of the week or whatever. No, It's reacting in real time to how Donald Trump is improvising to a large degree. Now, another moment in media that, well, this is just too good. Joe Rogan had a guy he once said he would vote for, maybe did vote for in a Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders. So Rogan has on Sanders, and I don't think Sanders was ready for the pushback that he got on so many things. For instance,
you got to deal with this climate change issue. And I know that, there are some people who think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax. I think the last 10 years have been the warmest on record. And we can create millions of good paying jobs, transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency, to solar, to wind, and other sustainable energies.
I think the climate change issue is very complicated. And I think, did you see the Washington Post piece that they wrote where they did this long-term view? First of all, the reality is that the Earth's temperature has never been static, right? We could both agree on that. It's always been up and down. There's been ice ages and heat waves. And then the Washington Post looked at it. What was the time period that they looked at? That essentially they found that we're in a cooling period, that the Earth over the past X amount of years, and this was like a very inconvenient discovery, but they had to report the data, and kudos to them for doing that. Scientists have captured the Earth's climate change over the last 485 million years. Here's a surprising place we stand now. So look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't read that article, but
Yeah.
The scientists who are out there, I think.
I know, but there's a lot of money involved in that too, Bernie. That's part of the problem. There's a lot of money involved in this whole climate change emergency issue.
Preach
and there's a
it,
lot
Joe.
of
Preach
control. And that's a big part of this problem. Not only that, if we're just talking about primarily carbon and carbon footprint, what are we going to do about China? Because China is like, what percentage of
They are the major polluter right now in terms of carbon. We're number two. We used to be one. They are number one right now.
I think they have an enormous percent of global. I think it's
Well, they're number one. I don't know what the
very
percentage.
high. It's
Look,
very high.
it's not an American issue. It is a global issue. And all I can tell you is that we are, in my view, going to see more extreme weather disturbances in the coming years than we have ever.
You
and we're
don't
seeing them
know
right now.
that, right? But the scientists don't agree. Well, this is where it gets confusing, because scientists that are in agreement, there's all these entanglements. Whenever someone's discussing something, whether it's economics or whether it's health issues or pharmaceutical drugs, there's financial entanglements. I think we both agree with that, right?
Yep.
And I think this is part of the issue with this whole climate change emergency as well, because it's not just that we could all agree pollution is a major factor. It's a huge issue in the world today. We could all agree with that, right?
Sure.
I think one of the things that we have to recognize is that whenever there's an issue that everyone can agree on, you're going to have a bunch of people that capitalize on that issue, and they look to gain more money. They have financial issues that they push forward in order to capitalize on this issue, but then also power and control. These things like they're trying to institute in the UK, where they have these 15-minute cities, this concept where you're not allowed to travel. They'll be able to look at your carbon footprint. See, that's the problem. The problem is giving people that are in power, these people that we've all discussed that have so much money and so much control over our societies, multinational corporations, giving them more control over citizens. And this is a vehicle for that. And this is what's dangerous about this whole climate change emergency, because it allows these fucking creeps that have been controlling people.
Yeah. It allows immense control. And it wasn't just on that issue. Bernie, of course, wanted to bring up the whole idea of Elon Musk. Spent so much on the election, Joe. He spent so much money, Joe. And Joe pushed back saying, wait, how much money is already in politics on so many of these things? Asking Sanders, is he going to run for president? I'm 83 years of age. I'm not sure the American people would be too enthusiastic about that. it's great to see these folks try to go into this world they thought changed the election so much. I think it played a big role, but not as big as, say, some other factors. And what you're seeing often when Bernie is going on these podcasts, and he's been doing the circuit, or you see Pete Buttigieg try to do that on the Flagrant podcast. They're trying to go to the hip podcast where a lot of young men like myself are watching. And they're still in the world of corporate media talking points. They're still in the world of corporate media consensus and party consensus. They have difficulty saying, well, I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. They're sticking to a particular script and not being, say, fluid in the conversation. It's what Trump does that's so impressive. In fact, it looks like J.D. Vance has gotten wise to this, and any politician, and definitely there'll be people on the left, Democrats, who figure this out eventually. They'll probably be younger. It won't be some 83-year-old fella like Bernie. And we'll learn how to do this well. But right now, this is why I think in large part the Democratic Party is lost in the wilderness in so many ways. The conversation's moved, and they're still acting like it's 2008. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation before I have to close up shop. Hopefully we'll have Ray Bowles on the other side of this break here.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey, Biscuits fans, it's the voice of the Biscuits, Jack Sadiq, and remind you to come out to Riverwalk Stadium for one of our T-shirt giveaways on Thursday nights. We've got great Gatsby T-shirts, retro T-shirts, college T-shirts, Hawaiian T-shirts, all kinds of T-shirts to give out. Don't miss your chance for one of our exclusive T-shirt giveaways. For more information on specific shirt giveaways, visit biscuitsbaseball.com or call the box office at 323-BALL.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Clark with Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about our experience with Blue Water Broadcasting. One of the hot topics in our staff meetings is spending advertising dollars. If your company or firm is anything like Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, those dollars are limited, so you have to spend them wisely. That's why we choose Blue Water Broadcasting. Our marketing analysis has proven consistently that spending advertising dollars with Blue Water Broadcasting has contributed significantly to our bottom line. And for that, Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is truly grateful. So, if you want to spend your advertising dollars wisely, choose Blue Water Broadcasting and see the difference.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm good. It's a little echoey. I'm in my bathroom right now, sitting down.
What's going on?
Well, we had an adventure today, and Terry Gilbert and Ray Washington of Alabama saved a kitten.
Oh.
And they are heroes, and I'm the sucker that took it home.
Oh, dude. Okay, so what kind of kitten?
Just a little kitten that fell in a black bucket. It's hard to explain. You have to go to our Facebook page because I took pictures. And he was trapped in this 55-gallon bucket, and we had to cut the top off.
Yeah.
It's just the grace of the Lord that we found this kitten, because we were actually going to do the measurement Monday. And both of us said, well, let's go over there and get it measured. And we all ran over the measure, and Terry heard it barely meow when he walked by, looked down the hole, this little bitty hole, and there's a kitten down there.
Oh, man, he must have been stuck, right?
Oh, yeah, he was down there. You couldn't get him out. You had to cut the top off.
Oh,
like
wow.
a total adventure. Now we had to bring him home, covered in fleas, cleaned him up, bathed him really good, went to Walmart, I know, and got dewormer medicine, got it home, and somebody stole the dewormer medicine out of the box. So I've taken 2 trips to Walmart.
Wait, somebody stole dewormer medicine out of a box?
You know, if you have to steal dewormer medicine out of the box, you really don't need an animal. No. You got bigger problems in life.
Wow, I'm looking at Facebook now. That's such a tiny kitten, and it's a little tuxedo cat.
Kitten. Yeah. So we're asking people to go on our Facebook and help name this kitten.
Oh man. What a fun. I'm glad y'all saved this cat. That is.
Yeah, what a day. Like I said, Terry and Ray are complete heroes, and I'm the sucker that took it home. Because after they got it out, both of them were like, no, I got to go here and I got to go there. I can't go home. I'm like, give me the kitten and I'll take it home. There's a sucker born every day. You know, I love animals. Now, I love to cuddle with some of them. I like eating some of them, but I'm an animal nut.
Well, that's awesome. Folks, y'all get by the Facebook page. Name this kitten.
And if y'all need a floor, call us, 285-8117, because I'm going to need some extra money to pay for this dewormer medicine.
Again, that's 285-8117, and be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with Joey.
Guys, have a great day.
Appreciate it. Pamela is here in the studio early. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right.
It's Wednesday.
I've always wanted to name a cat Niccolo Machiavelli.
That would be cool.
I think it's a cool name for a cat.
When you said it was a tuxedo cat, I started thinking about who's famous who wears tuxedos that it should be named after.
It is. It's a cute little tuxedo cat. It's hard to see its face here in the photos, but the paws are perfectly, like wearing the gloves.
Cute.
Oh, man.
So maybe a piano player's name?
Yeah, that could work. I don't know. Classic names for cats tends to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Machiavelli, because you can shorten it and call it Machi or Velli or Nico or whatever. But yeah, over the top silly names. 3 names. Could name it like John Wilkes Booth.
There you go. Well, I like things like that.
I'm sure he wore a tuxedo. James Bond.
James Bond. James is a good one.
Are they coming back with that series, by the way? I don't know if they should. I don't know if they should in this day and
I
age.
saw a TikTok about it the other day. I think I sent it to Eddie. Hold on, I got to find it because it is I think it's going to be a black actor this time.
Yeah.
And they've narrowed it down.
It's funny, you can tell the person's generation by who's the real Bond if you ask them. And I mean, a lot of folks are going to say the original, they're going to say Sean Connery. But for me, it was Pierce Brosnan all the way.
Yes.
First Bond movie I saw was Goldeneye. It's always going to be that guy.
I agree.
And I had so many questions as a kid, like, what's that lady doing to kill that guy on the boat?
You know what? The 2 nights ago, we watched Austin Powers.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it is.
So good.
Oh, I saw that movie way too young.
Oh, yeah.
They're so freaking funny. Especially the fembots and
yes,
his
and
mojo is there.
Yeah, and how he disarms the fembots.
Yeah.
It's just, it almost gives me secondhand embarrassment to watch it, though.
Well, and I saw a clip Mike Myers talking about it. He said just since he was a kid, he always thought it was hilarious. It's the Vinyls. There was a song called "I Touch Myself."
Yes.
He thought it was the
It
funniest
is
thing.
Hilarious, but it's a real song.
So y'all get by Prattville Carpet's Facebook page. Start naming this cat. Let's see.
Any good suggestions? So far?
Oscar, because they found him in a can.
Oh.
Rugrat. Ray Ray. Socks. I like that name.
That's cute.
PIB, Puss in Barrel.
The notorious PIB.
I like that one. Let's see. Otis. Good, strong Southern name.
I like the name Otis.
Yeah, I'm more like fancy names for cats. I do still think like a dog is like a black lab named Steve. Like that
It's funny.
Right.
My cat's name is Jesco.
Jesco. I like that.
Like the
I like that a
wonderful
lot.
whites of West Virginia.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. Yeah, see, I'll get by there. There's a lot of folks haven't thrown in names, so but that's a great way to end this program. I felt a little lonely all day, but Eddie's out there closing and
I know. I
getting things
saw.
done. Did you see Trump get called daddy?
Yes, I did. What about Domino?
Ooh, Domino's a good name. I like that.
Black
a
and
lot.
white.
Yeah, Domino is fantastic. Now, did you see Trump get asked about being called daddy?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll have to end with this because it was just too good. Let's get it going.
Hello. Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No, he did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend you?
Rubio almost lost it.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
He called you daddy. And on that note, by the way, saw that clip? First song on my random playlist, Father Figure by George Michael that I heard. I'm like, it's listening in.
It really is.
And now I've been thinking about Trump singing that song all day. I could be your preacher, your teacher, anything you have in mind.
You know your AI assignment when you leave here.
Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour is next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1